Let's do it. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 114 of McRae Live. The date today is Friday, October the 16th, 2020. The exact time is 11:04 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am coming to you live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto, Canada. Today was the day. Today was the day, ladies and gentlemen. It was the day that Halloween Kills was supposed to be released to the world. What happened after Halloween 2018? What happened to Laurie Strode? What happened to Karen? What happened to Allison? What happened to the shape himself, Michael Myers? Well, that didn't happen. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Today was the day. It's Friday, October the 16th, 2020. Today is the day all of you would have seen the movie. Now, Halloween Kills likely would have premiered at TIFF this past year, and I likely would have seen it 7 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, whatever it would have been. But that didn't happen either. So here we are. We have to wait another year. I believe it was a year yesterday, I think. I think it's being released on the 15th of October, 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So, that's what it is, folks. That's what it is. What does Jason Blum feel about this? What does Jason Blum feel about this? Todd Fayer sends in a super chat. But Dave! Hey, I see your butt, Dave, and I'll raise you a...
I'm offended. I'm offended.
I do have the butt Dave in here, too.
But Dave...
I should make up a whole list of that kind of stuff, and then, whatever. Jason Blum recently... I always find these things fascinating. And I think what I find more fascinating. Oh, by the way, folks, I'm going to have to, today's show, I'll probably have to skedaddle around 12:20 or so, 12:20 Eastern Standard Time. I have several meetings this afternoon in regards to It's Me, Billy, so I need to attend those. So I will be maybe about 10 minutes earlier than I normally would. Just want to give you a heads up for that. So I always find these things interesting because, and listen, the average person doesn't know this, nor should they know this, nor should they need to know this. It's not a necessity. But it never does cease to amaze me how somebody can say something and people run off with it like it's the gospel. And it's largely because they don't really understand the positions that these individuals are in and how it relates to other positions. And, like how I like to call it's the political cinematic rhetoric. It's just what you say. It's just what you say. Do you remember, this was back in, I think it was it this year? I think it was, like back in February or March or something. Jason Blum said, it's coming soon. It's coming soon. Do you remember that? The trailer for Halloween Kills? It's soon. It's soon. It's soon. And I did a whole show on it where I said, it's not fucking, that's what you say. And did it come soon? No. Now you could say, well, the coronavirus. No, it had nothing to do with the coronavirus. Okay. People interpreted soon because of the way he said it. Okay. He said it like it's coming soon. People took that, and I tried to say, look, soon is relative. Soon could be tomorrow. Not likely. He'd probably say tomorrow, but soon could be 2 weeks. Soon could be 2 or 3 months. I mean, that's relatively soon in the world of marketing a movie, especially when the movie doesn't come out until October. Now, would the trailer have dropped by June or July? Yes, it would have. But his soon wasn't derailed because of Corona. His soon was, it was just soon. It's coming soon. But the way he said it and the way that the article is written, it led people to believe that it's any day now, and people are sharing all this stuff. And I'm just rolling my eyes and I'm thinking to myself, Jesus, it's any little bit of, like, you read too much into it. You read far too much into this kind of stuff. Far too much into this kind of stuff. Jason Blum has absolutely unequivocally no say whether Halloween Kills gets released next year or not. I mean, he has a say. I can't say he doesn't have a say. He's the producer on the project, but he's not the distributor. If Universal doesn't want to distribute the film for whatever reason, it ain't fucking matter what Jason Blum wants. It doesn't matter, man. It doesn't matter. Blumhouse isn't distributing the movie. They made the movie. They are the production company that was hired to make the movie. Is Blum in with people at Universal? Yeah. Does he have friends over there? Sure. Absolutely. Can he have some sway? 100%. But the buck doesn't stop with him. It doesn't stop with him. So you have to understand that, anyway, let's go over to what he said here. And I get what he's saying, and he's not wrong in what he's saying from a certain point of view, and it's a very safe thing to say, but we'll talk about it. So here's what everybody's sort of losing their minds over, is this right here. This comes from Forbes, I believe. Is it Forbes? Is it Forbes? Is that what it is? Forbes, yeah. This is October the 14th. Jason Blum talks, welcome to the Blumhouse, COVID-19, Halloween Kills, and the Craft Legacy. Well, none of you give a shit about any of that stuff. So let's just scroll down to the rental stuff here. Okay, so the article says here, however, two major Blumhouse produced multi-million-dollar IPs have had 2020 releases shunted in 2021. I don't know if I would have used that word. Because of the pandemic. The Forever Purge. God, they're still making these fucking Purge movies. Stop making Do the Purge movies make money, though? Tell me, do the Purge movies make money? Because if the Purge movies make money, but if they're, does anybody give a fuck about the Purge movies anymore? Stop making the Purge movies. Anyway, the Forever Purge, the latest, I thought that said the last installment. I got excited. Then again, that doesn't mean anything. The latest installment in the Purge franchise, and Halloween Kills, doesn't this sound silly? I don't know. Doesn't this sound, how can you read this with a straight face? Okay, and Halloween Kills, the 12th installment in the Halloween franchise. 12. It just seems, I don't know. It just, I wouldn't have written it like that. I would have wrote it like, and Halloween Kills, the follow-up to 2018's Halloween, or the sequel to, I would have sounded, the 12th installment, Jesus. Anybody who's not neck deep into this would read that and go, 12. All right, well, geez, that can't be, there's no way that can be any good. You know what I'm saying? Hang on, I just spilled a little water here. My water tipped over. 1 second. Let me just clean this up here. Dun, 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 dun. A little water. You guys probably heard that. My water bottle had a little bit of, hang on 1 second here. There we go. Cleaning the water, doing this live. That's what we got to do. All right, we are good. We're good. Just a little bit of water spilt on my desk, and I wanted to clean that up before it dripped onto my pants. That's vodka, Dave. Don't lie. You're right. It's vodka. It's vodka. You're absolutely correct. It's vodka. Let me just get this here. That should dry it out a little bit. Anyway, the 12th installment is hilarious to me. Anyway, the latter was due to be released in theaters on Friday, October 16th, 2020. That is today. It is now scheduled to land on Friday, October 15th, 2021, if things haven't changed by then. Sorry, if things haven't changed by then, would he hold it another year? He's not holding it at all. And again, that doesn't mean that Blum doesn't have a say. Of course he has a say. I mean, he's a big time producer in Hollywood. He's the head of Blumhouse Productions. He definitely, his word would mean something, 100%. But it's not his decision, is what I'm trying to say. So if Universal, for whatever reason, wanted to delay Halloween Kills, they'll do it. Now, that doesn't mean that Blum won't fight for it. That doesn't mean that Blum won't do whatever he can to make sure it's released, but it's ultimately, at the end of the day, not his decision. I just think that's a very important distinction to make before people lose their minds over something like this. Dried up. Where are we here? So here's his quote. He says, "No," laughed Blum. "If this is still going on next Halloween, we're not holding it. Halloween Kills is coming out next October. Come hell or high water, vaccine or no vaccine, it is coming out." Now, people who don't know how the industry works and don't understand these things, of course, and Jason Blum, is the face, right? He's the face because Blumhouse is the production company, right? They're the people that hire they're boots on the ground. They're the ones making the movie. He's a very, his face is very much, let me try that again. His face is recognized. He himself is at the forefront of all this. He goes to the premieres of his movies. He's a talking head. He's very much there. So when you think of Blumhouse, you think of him. And when you see him saying these kinds of things, Blumhouse is the one that made the movie. You see this and you think to yourself, well, he's saying it. He's the guy. He's the guy. Well, he's the guy, but he's not the guy. Okay, and that's something you got to keep in mind. And I think this is a very safe thing to say. It's a year away. The probability that Halloween Kills will be released next October is so high at this point in the game right now because it's 12 months away. Right? So it's a very safe thing to say. You can say, hey, listen, vaccine or no vaccine, come hell or high water, I don't give a frog's fat ass what's going on, man. We're going in there and we're getting fucking It's very safe to say because you have so many barriers between you and then. It's like a big like a big 6'6", 340-pound bodybuilder on the other side of a brick wall, and I'm on this side of the brick wall going, yeah, fucking come on, yeah, that's right. If that fucking wall was there, well, yeah, because there's so much in between us, right? So if you think of that, there's so much time in between now and next October that the likelihood that it will come out is very high, and it will have nothing to do with Blum making sure that it's definitely going to come out because he wants it to come out because no, it's just going to come out because everything's fine now. You know what I mean? So it's such a safe thing to say, in my opinion. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to. That doesn't mean that this time next year we may not still have issues, but it's a year away. That's another 12 months, right? So, it doesn't mean that it's definitely going to come out. It doesn't mean that the coronavirus will be gone forever. It doesn't mean that people will not be wearing masks this time next year. It doesn't mean that necessarily, but I think it's a very safe thing to say. If Halloween Kills was scheduled to come out in January, do you think he would say this? Do you think if Halloween Kills was pushed to January, do you think he'd say that? I'm telling you right now, if a hell or high water, vaccine or no vaccine, that fucking thing's coming out. No, because it's too close. He wouldn't say that. It's too close. This is a very safe thing to say. And again, Jason, if you're watching, we love you. I love you. I love you. You know I love you. We all do. I mean, sometimes you put out some stinkers. But at the end of the day, he definitely is the man when it comes to dishing out low-budget horror movies that make huge profits. He's the guy, and he definitely has sway and clout in the industry because of his reputation, because of his success, because of his track record, because of his portfolio. 100% absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's not his decision. And that's something that we have to keep in mind. So he can fight for it all he wants. But if Universal says, hey, man, we love you, Jason, but we ain't sorry, dude. Yeah, it's August now. Pandemic is still going on. Holy shit. We thought we were going to be able to do this in October this year. You know what? I think we're going to have to kind of just, Now, the other thing that it could mean, and that he might have insight to, is that streaming, right? Maybe it's going to go to streaming. Maybe that's why he also feels incredibly confident, because maybe he's got some inside knowledge from the higher ups above him at Universal, who do call the shots on whether the movie gets, when the movie gets, when and if the movie gets released or not. And there's contractual obligations in there as well. I mean, it's not. I'm making it very Cliff Notes version like, but there's a lot of moving parts. Okay, it's not as black and white as I'm making it seem, but I'm trying to make it simple for you. It's entirely possible that he might have insight into somebody at Universal who does call the shots, who has some say, and says, listen, if this thing is still fucking going on, we'll put it to streaming. We'll just put it to streaming. And maybe there has been that casual conversation, right, that has happened, which makes Jason feel more confident in saying, hey, listen, I don't fucking care, vaccine or no vaccine, that thing's coming out, you son of a bitch. I mean, that could be happening too. He might, so it gives him a little bit of, a bit of a security blanket, because he knows that Universal privately behind closed doors amongst themselves, and Blum, have already said, listen, we'll delay it a year because our goal is to get this thing into fucking theaters, because that's where we're going to make the big money and people can see it in IMAX. But if this thing is still like this, we're not going to delay it another year. We'll explore the streaming option. We'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this, we'll do this. Are you sure? Yeah, we'll do, and maybe those conversations have happened. I'm not saying they have, I'm saying maybe they've happened. And that could also be why he's feeling very confident in this. But I just, I never read really too much into anything a producer says. Because when you are working at that level, and when there are hundreds of millions of dollars at stake, there's what I call the political cinematic rhetoric game. You just say certain things to keep the mystique there, to keep the mystery there. You say certain things to appease interviewers. There's certain ways that you say things and certain ways that you phrase things, where you've said something, but you really haven't said anything, but you've said a lot, but it could mean 500 different things. And then you just let the audience fill in the blanks and let their imaginations run wild. And then they could come back and say, but you said, and then they can say, well, yeah, but I know, but that's not what I meant. Like, there's so many, that's why these people have publicists, okay? And that's why there are PR departments, and there's a very specific game that's played. And it doesn't mean that everything is like that. I'm not saying that Jason Blum consciously was reading from a script in his own mind. I'm not saying that, but he's not new to the business. He knows how to work these interviews. He knows what to say and not to say. This is great fodder, and it's great. It's a great thing to say in October right now. It's fantastic, but it doesn't really mean anything because it's ultimately not his decision. And it's a safe thing to say 12 months away. I'd be more excited if this movie was supposed to come out in January and he was like, this fucking thing, I don't give a shit, vaccine or no vaccine, this thing is coming out. And it's like, we're only like 3 months, so holy shit. Wow. Okay, that means a little more to me because we're so close and he's apparently so confident. Do you know what I mean? But if you're confident a year away, I'm pretty confident too that it's going to come out. You know what I mean? Like, I could have told you that, so I don't know. It doesn't, I just find it funny that I think too, because there's been very little Halloween, and because people are disappointed, obviously, for obvious reasons, I think people are looking for anything to make them feel better and looking for anything that will make them feel, better and sort of cleanse the palate, take the bitter taste out of their mouth. And hearing Jason Blum, the producer of Halloween Kills, the head of Blumhouse Productions, come out and say something that, vaccine or no vaccine, come hell or high water, it's coming out next year. That makes you feel good. And he knows it makes you feel good. And it instills confidence in his relationship with the fans. It instills confidence in his relationship, in you, because you are the paying customer. You matter, and it's totally understandable. But try your best in the future when things are said like this to kind of go, okay, cool, but we'll see, and kind of just, I don't know, just and not think so hard into it. It's especially a year away, because anything can happen. Anything can happen between now and next August, which is ultimately when they'd have to probably make the decision. Anything can happen. Like, we're so far away from that, and is there a very high probability that this time next year, like I said, we should be okay? Yes. It's a very safe thing to say. It's a very safe thing to say. So anyway, 2020 has been a steep and challenging learning curve for Hollywood and the film industry, but learning lessons is something Blum has continued to do. The business mistake I learned, actually, I just watched The Hunt last week, a week or two ago. I watched it with my girlfriend. We really enjoyed it, but I definitely agree with what he said here. This is not Halloween Kills related, but I'm going to read it anyway. Excuse me, because I thought it was interesting, because I too thought The Hunt was a certain kind of movie. And then about 15, 20 minutes into the movie, my girlfriend and I are like, oh, it's this kind of movie, which is totally cool. Like, I'm totally down for a satire. I think I really enjoyed the film, but it definitely wasn't initially marketed that way. So he says here, the business mistake I learned the most out of was the release of The Hunt, the producer recalled. We had marketed the movie a certain way, and the marketing was almost too good because people were convinced the movie was something it really wasn't. What we had to redo was remarket the film more to what the movie was, which was a satire, 100%. If you haven't seen The Hunt, it's a satire. Don't worry, it's not serious. I learned the hard way, and a million people told me, but I didn't believe them. Sorry, let me try that again. I learned the hard way, and a million people told me, but I didn't believe them, was that nobody wants to see a satire, and you can't market a satire. Well, I think people do want to see a satire, but, you got to market it as a satire. Anyway, yeah, so it just goes on there and blah, blah, blah. So you can read that article, of course. It's from October the 14th. It's Forbes. Just type in Jason Blum, Forbes, and it will come up. But that is... that's the situation. That's how I feel about it anyway. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that is how I feel about it. And I thoroughly enjoyed The Hunt. I thought it was great. A lot of fun. I mean, we've seen movies like that before, but it was fun. It was fun. And once, like I said, about 15, 20 minutes into the movie, and I'm like, oh, it's this kind of movie. I was like, okay, cool. And thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of, yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. Anybody who gets their knickers in a twist, as the British like to say, over The Hunt just needs to, I don't know. I think it's just fun. It was fun for me. Hey, let's go over to take your questions. Let's take your questions, ladies and germs. And what is going down, you sums of bitches? Let me see here. What do we got? One super chat from Intel Wild. Okay, I got that. I think we are good. Let's see. Aaron Anderson says, them not putting this out on VOD this year is going to hurt them because most people are going to forget and not care. I disagree, Aaron Anderson. People will care. The hype train will resume. Once you see that trailer, once the poster drops, once the TV spots begin to drop, once the community here online begins to talk about it, the hype train will start again. They will be fine. Tabitha Short says, Viking Masher was out of chicken flavor. Okay, I get She's cooking something. I think she's cooking something. Darren Sand says The Hunt is great fun. Totally agree. Tabitha says, hopefully H Kills has one hell of a marketing and advertising team so people don't forget the movie. People won't forget the movie, folks. This idea that people are going to forget the movie, they're not going to forget the movie. Are people going to forget Batman? They're not going to forget Batman. Are people going to forget Bond? They're not going to forget Bond. Are people going to forget Dune? They're not going to forget Dune. Dune actually has an uphill battle because it's not a property that a lot of people care about initially. But Halloween? Oh yeah, no, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Trust me. This time next year, 100%. 100%. Must be Matt sends in a $5 super chat, says, Dave, I've been watching you for about a year and you have some great opinions and funny vids. Keep doing what you're doing. Well, thank you so much, Matt. I really appreciate you watching and tuning in, and thank you very much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Lauren Downing says, agree, Dave. People are not going to forget. No, I mean, people will forget in the interim because it's a year, but it's not forget. It's you just kind of, okay, it's a year away. You go on with your day. You go on with your business, right? But once next, April and May and June, once that starts to kind of heat up again, everybody's going to start getting excited. And of course, they're planning on, if they can release it in the theaters, they're planning on releasing it in IMAX. So, I mean, come on. People aren't going to... there's no way. I mean, you mean to... Oh, Halloween Kills is coming out this year? Oh, forget it. You snooze, you lose, man. Hey, listen, I was going to go see it. But I had to wait a fucking year, so I ain't going to see it. I mean, look at that trailer. It looks great. It's an IMAX. It's coming out. The poster's amazing. I really wanted to see what it looked like, but... Nope, sorry. Should have released it last year. That was my pretentious Halloween fan. Die Hard Drummer 84 says,
Dave, what's a remade movie trailer that's better than the OG?
What's a remade movie trailer? Oh, I have no idea. I don't watch. I don't know. What's a better remade movie trailer? I have no idea. I have not watched too many remade movie trailers. I don't know. It's a good question, but I'm not really sure. Not really sure. Todd's King. How important is an October release for Halloween Kills in your opinion, Dave? Well, I think anytime you have a movie that is centered around Halloween as its theme, I think October naturally is very, very important. I don't think it is necessarily like I can you release a Halloween movie in the summer and have it do well? Yeah, they have. Can you release a Halloween movie in January, February, March and have it do well? Yeah, you can. But there's a psychological aspect about releasing a Halloween film in October because people start to feel the season, right? You feel the season, especially if you live in a climate where, the leaves change and you actually get a real autumn, not in California where you don't get an autumn. Yes, yeah. Because you get into that mood and you want to watch a horror movie or, because, you can feel the air and it feels like fall and it's Halloween and you get into the spirit, right? It helps you get into the spirit of the season. 'Tis the season, right? So I certainly think releasing, if you can, a Halloween movie in October is always beneficial. And why it took so long for them to do it, there's obviously, there's reasons, but I don't know why H2O, Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers was the last Halloween movie to have been released in the month of October before Halloween 18. Halloween 6, Halloween H2O, Halloween Resurrection, and both Rob Zombie's Halloweens, 5, were not released. 5 of them, folks, were not released in the month of October. The closest, I think, was 6. I think 6 was released in mid to late September or something like that. Late September, maybe. I think it was late September. So, that's pretty close. I mean, we're kind of getting into that season anyway. But I think it's a good thing to do. If you can do it, I think you should do it because it just makes sense. It makes sense. Makes sense. It's like releasing a Christmas movie at Christmas or, something to that degree, if you can do it. Now, that doesn't mean that Christmas themed movies haven't done well elsewhere, at other times they have. But if your core, like if it's about the spirit of Christmas, like I think you could release a Black Christmas movie any time of the year. Now, if you release it at Christmas, does it help? Well, sure. But Christmas, I mean, you know, Christmas kind of takes it's set against the backdrop of Christmas, but it's not like, I don't consider Black Christmas necessarily a Christmas movie per se. I mean, it is for all intents and purposes, but it's very much like Die Hard for me. Die Hard's not a Christmas movie, in my opinion. It's not a Christmas movie. Because if Die Hard is a Christmas movie, then every single fucking movie that's ever been made that just so happens to take place in and around that time is a Christmas movie. And that's not what, to me, a Christmas movie is. A Christmas movie is a movie where the fundamental lessons and themes and morals and values of the Christmas season play an integral part in the narrative of the picture, right? So It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, I think it is, Home Alone, and all because there's lessons and morals that are learned because of the spirit of Christmas. And Die Hard is, you can place Die Hard in the middle of July or in the middle of April, and nothing changes. The rest of the movie can play out. Now you have to alter some things. Okay, it's not a Christmas party, it's just a work party, and instead of saying, oh, on the guy's shirt, it now says, fuck you, motherfucker, or something. I mean, you have to change a few little things because they played into the fact that it was Christmas, but it's not a Christmas movie, because if Die Hard's a Christmas movie, then Die Hard 2 is a Christmas movie. Nobody talks about that. It's just this fun, it was this fun thing that somebody, if you have to have an argument whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie, it's not a fucking Christmas movie, because Christmas movies are clear Christmas movies. Anyway, that's my opinion. So, but Halloween, I think they should release Halloween, all Halloween movies at Halloween time. Just kind of makes sense. Let me see what we got going down here. Tablet says, so Blumhouse and everyone else involved are going to start releasing posters and trailers in the next coming months, not knowing for sure when the film will be released. No, not at all, because no, the trailer or the poster, it's not coming till next year. Right. So, I mean, again, you may get something, at Halloween time this year towards the end of the month. That was my understanding, that something was coming, but it could, it's not necessarily a poster or a trailer. But when a poster or trailer, when a marketing campaign for a movie begins to ramp up, it's usually about 3 or 4 months prior to the film's release. So 3 or 4 months prior to next year's Halloween release would be what, like June, right? So by next May or June, Universal will have a pretty good idea of what the landscape is looking like and whether or not they feel comfortable in releasing a trailer at that time or not. So there's still a lot of time. You're not going to get, it's not like Halloween Kills is going to ramp up its marketing campaign now or in November or December or January or February or March or April. It's not. There ain't going to be anything for the next 6 to 7 months because they got to wait and see what's going to happen here. I mean, theater chains are in trouble, and the pandemic is still on the rise, and there's so they have to wait and see. So no, they won't do that. You won't start to see the real marketing campaign again for Halloween Kills until next summer. Dia Maria Duke. I know work has been busy. I love when you guys talk to each other. It's great. I feel like we're all just one big family. Evil Alex says, read Dune before. Will I read Dune before I watch the film? Can't wait for the film. No, I won't do that. No, I'm not a big reader. I don't read a lot of fiction. Just not. I don't know. It's funny. I know it's ironic in a lot of ways, but I read, I rather read like biographies or like fact kind of based stuff. And I don't know. I'm just not a big fiction reader. Never have been. I don't know why. So no, I won't be doing that, but you never know. Some people may be. Goomba Johnny says, you read that super chat wrong. He didn't ask you to compare trailers. He didn't ask me to compare trailers. Well, then what did he ask me to do? And I don't believe it was a super chat. Was it a super chat? No, it wasn't a super chat. I think it was just a question. At me and at me and say the question again, and then I will answer it. I thought the question was what remake of trailers, like what trailer remakes, because sometimes they update trailers, do I like over the original? Like the original trailer. I thought that was the question, and I said I haven't seen too many I don't know off the top of my head, because I don't watch I haven't seen a lot of updated trailers. I thought that was the question, Goomba. That's what I thought it was. It was something like that. Yeah. It was something like that. Let me see here. TF311100 says Jason Blum said in an article yesterday that Halloween Kills is coming out next October no matter what. No more days changes. Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. You got to go back to the beginning of the show and then you'll know my thoughts on it. So I suggest you do that. It was about movies, not trailers. Oh, it was about movies and not trailers. Why did I think it was about trailers then? Where did I see? Thanks, Darren. I appreciate that. I wonder why I said, so what remakes of movies do I like over the originals? I wonder why I said trailers then. I must have had trailers on my mind when I said it. Well, my apologies to whoever said that. And thank you to Darren, my great moderator here, to saying it was about movies, not trailers. So, okay. So what remakes do I like over the original in terms of movies? Okay. Remakes. Well, I gotta say, I like the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers over the original. That's one of my favorite remakes of all time, to be honest with you. I would say that remakes, there's not a lot out there that I particularly like over the original. I didn't like Friday the 13th, didn't like Elm Street, didn't like Halloween, so they're gone. Didn't like Child's Play over the original. I didn't mind it for what it was, but I didn't like it over the original, so that's gone. Not too many, man. Not too many. I'll just say that. Not too many. My apologies again. I for some reason, I read trailers in there. I don't know why. Let me see. Rebel Rick says, how's it going, Dave? What are your thoughts on the new F13 box set? Thank you, Rebel Rick. Well, I don't have the box set, so I just know from what people have showed online and what's in it. I think it looks great. I think it's a lot of fun. There was somebody I saw, and maybe somebody can answer this if they know. There was somebody that had shared, I think it was photos I was seeing or something. And in his box set, all the cover art, that's one of the cool things, all the cover art on all the cases are the original cover art, except for Friday the 13th 5. His Friday the 13th 5 was not the original cover art, at least the original that I remember, which is just that hockey mask, which isn't even Roy's hockey mask. It's like just a full-on hockey with like red eyes kind of glow. And that wasn't the cover art of Friday the 13th 5 in this box set, yet every other one was the original cover art. Do people know why that is? Does anybody know why? Jason heads out there, you Friday the 13th enthusiasts, you sweaty hardcore nerds. Can you let me know why that's the case? Or maybe that was just his set. I don't know. I don't have the set. Because to order the set would have cost me over $200 Canadian, because it was like 100 and something US plus shipping. I was like, I just couldn't justify like $250 for that box set at the moment. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to get it. But one day I might. But it sounds like the shit that's on it sounds great. David Lee Barron says, Dear Dave, my apologies to you and everyone in the chat for my ignorant post yesterday. My mistake, brothers and sisters, won't happen again. David, I don't know what post you're referring to. You made an ignorant post yesterday? What did you say, man? I don't recall you saying anything that needed an apology. I don't recall it anyway. I'm not really sure. Tabitha says, hey, everyone. Oh, yeah, Tabitha's started her own business here. So if you guys are interested, make sure you check out the link that she's posted here. She says, hey, everyone, I make candles now and have my own website. Please click the link below and share the link. Yes, Tabitha, congratulations on that. Making candles, that's pretty cool. You know, and with the holidays coming up as well, candles are great gifts, folks. I'm just saying, everybody likes a candle to be burning off in the corner. Maybe scented candles. Do you make scented candles, Tabitha? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, maybe you should. I don't know. But I'm telling you, kind of cool. With the holidays coming up, they make really nice gifts. Just saying. I know my girlfriend likes candles. I'll put an order for 5,000. Let me see here. I like candles too, actually. I like scented candles. Sometimes when I go to the scented candles and I open up, I'm like, oh, that smells so good. I just want to eat the candle. It smells so good. It's great. Let me see here. Ingbert Rottington says they used the original poster art for the Blu-rays. The Part 5 cover you're thinking of was used for the VHS. Was for the VHS. So, well, that's disappointing because most of the... Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay. Because that's disappointing, actually, because most of the Blu-ray covers, because that's how we remember it, right? There was VHS long before there was ever DVD or Blu-ray. I think, because that's how they were, that disappoints me. I don't think they should be that. I think every cover should be the original fucking cover of how we remember. Go retro, man. All the original VHS. You know, yeah, they should do that. Because all the other covers look pretty identical to what you would expect. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a bit of variation, but yeah, that disappoints me. It disappoints me, man. It disappoints me. Hey, Dave, you can get the F13 box set on Best Buy Canada or Amazon Canada for $150 plus tax. Yeah, $150 plus tax. So what are you looking at? You're looking at shipping in there too. So $150 plus tax is okay. So that's about $170 plus, let's say, shipping. You're still looking at close to $200 for it. You know, maybe somebody will buy it for me for Christmas. Chris Beecham, I think is how you say that. Beecham? Do you think they should just completely stop making Halloween movies after Ends? I think they should stop making Michael Myers Halloween movies after Ends. And I think they should move on to something else related to the Halloween universe. Make spin-off films, and then those spin-off films can have their own sequels. Very much like what they were trying to do with Halloween 3 Season of the Witch back in 1982. But you see, you know, it was far ahead of its time. I'm all for, like, listen, if you want to do a sequel to Halloween 3, okay, I'm sort of in the camp that I think you should remake Halloween 3. I think Halloween 3, as you've heard me say, is largely a film that has great ideas, great potential. I don't love Halloween 3. I like it for what it is. And, but every time I watch it, I think it could be so much bigger and so much more. And I think if you had a little bit of a higher budget, more time, I think you could really create something special. And I think you could do that. You could do the Charlie Bowles story and really make something. I know we kind of laugh about it, right? Old Charlie Bowles and grabbed himself a hacksaw, and we kind of joke about it. But if you took it really seriously, I think there might be something there. And who knows? Charlie Bowles could be the next iconic slasher. And like I said in my video where I was talking about Charlie Bowles, somebody said to me off camera one time, was like, yeah, but he's old Charlie Bowles. What are we going to have, like another 70-year-old? I'm like, well, how do we know he's old? We don't know he's old. Just because the graveyard keeper said old Charlie Bowles doesn't mean that he's 70. He could be, but if he grabbed himself a hacksaw and kissed his wife and his 2 children goodbye, the way that the graveyard keeper is structuring the sentence and the way that he's saying that makes me, I mean, what 75-year-old's going to have, well, I mean, you know, unless you're Larry King, but you know, of course, I think he's like 89, but what 75-year-old has a wife and 2 children, right? Like when you say say 2 children, I think like a boy and a girl, 7 and 10 or something. Like, I mean, I think like 2 little kids. So maybe, you know, he's just referring to that old Charlie Bowles like this because he's well known in the community, right? And he's lived there his whole life and he's done some good things and he just snapped one day or something, right? And that old Charlie, I mean, maybe that's what he means. It's more of a form of endearment in a weird sort of way. But I don't think Charlie Bowles necessarily has to be like old Charlie Bowles. You know, I think there's something there that you could do. And there's other things you could write from scratch that are in the Halloween universe. So you know you're in the same universe. Like, for example, maybe there's a movie or a Netflix series or something that follows, you know, something and you know that it's in the same universe. There's so much you could do. And it doesn't mean that it would do well today, but I think today it is more likely to do well. There's a higher probability of doing it well because of avenues like streaming, where you can really take your time and focus on character and narrative and story structure. And the word anthology and having things connected in broader universes and things like that is in the pop culture consciousness now. It wasn't, 38 years ago, whatever it was, or 38, 39, 40. Yeah. It wasn't back then. Today, I think it's more likely. I don't want to see, like, for me, when you make a Halloween, which is what they're doing here, when you scrap all the sequels and you make one that's connected to the first movie only, for me, the story began with Laurie and Michael. It needs to end with Laurie and Michael. Now, what end means, there's many different ways that you can structure it. You can watch my sequel concept video idea on my channel. But that, for me, is where it needs to end. It needs to end there. Now, I know there's a lot of people that disagree with that. No, why is it always Laurie Strode? He's just going off and he's just doing this and this and this. If you want to start and make something again down the road, knock yourself out. But I don't want to see this fucking thing go on. And I know a lot of people do. I don't, not because I'm not a fan, but because I am a fan. Okay. Now you could say, so are you saying all the people out there that want it to go on aren't fans? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I might care about quality a little more than other people. And I'm not saying that they don't care about quality, but it is a well-known fact that the more movies you make, the more garbage they're going to get eventually. That doesn't mean that Kills won't be really good. It doesn't mean Halloween Ends might not be too shabby. The third movie in a trilogy traditionally is not as good as the others. I mean, unless you're talking about, Return of the King, which is arguably people's favorites in The Lord of the Rings. But when you point to Return of the Jedi, or you point to, The Dark Knight Rises, or you point to, Back to the Future, or, traditionally the third ones tend to be okay, fine, but not necessarily the best in a trilogy is what I'm saying. So, I just think that, yeah, you might be able to squeeze 1 or 2 more out that are pretty good. But to think we're going to get James Jude Courtney in 7 more Halloween movies and all of them be great is just, I think it's naive, I think it's ignorant, and I think it's wishful thinking. And I think it's better to go out on top and leave them wanting more than to go, well, it was great until, you know what I mean? I don't want that. I care too much about Michael and Halloween, and I would rather them go out on top and then explore other things and leave Michael alone for a while. And then maybe in the future, 5 or 6 years from now or whatever, maybe you revisit, maybe you remake Halloween for a newer audience. And I don't know I don't know how you would tell the story differently, but I just think it needs to, I'm of the mindset that it is okay for stories to end. It's good that stories end. We want stories to end. We want things to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, because if we don't, it feels incomplete. It feels messy. It feels lame and chintzy, and I just don't like that it's messy and then things get weird, and then and I don't like that. I don't like that. So that's how I feel anyway. That's how I feel. But I mean, we'll see, my man. We will see. But I think they should go that route. That's what I think. Let me see what's going on. David Lee Barron, did you at me to let me know what was going on with the comment you made yesterday? I don't recall you making a comment that needed an apology anyway. My apologies if it did. Hex Boom says, I hope they can leave the Laurie Strode character alone when the series of Halloween is done. Tell a new story with the Halloween franchise. Yes, and I think they need to leave Michael Myers alone as well. That's my opinion. It doesn't mean that you can have the story begin and end with Laurie. It doesn't. Here's the thing you have to understand. It doesn't mean just because Laurie is the main antagonist doesn't mean that you cannot have the idea that the kills are random, right? You had Laurie was the main antagonist in the first movie. And in that first movie, because they had no idea that they were going to do a sequel, he's not her brother. She's not his sister. I mean, you watch it now believing that because of part 2, but when they made that first movie, Laurie was nobody. And she was our main antagonist. You can still have it begin and end with Laurie and still create a narrative in a film that feels like he's killing at random. You can still do that. But to have Laurie gone and then to continue on, you've built a story around these two characters, and there's layers and symbolism with these two characters. And what I mean by that is that when you listen to what the teacher is saying in the first Halloween about fate and, everything that Laurie says, how, what she says when she reads from the book, there are layers there. Ultimately it was meant for that first movie, how she meets her fate there, but you can still connect it to the bigger picture moving forward with Halloween 18 and Kills and Ends. And I think it should end with them. I really do. And I personally, like in my sequel concept idea, it ends in Judith's bedroom in the original Myers house, and the whole fucking thing goes up in flames, and Laurie dies. Laurie dies on fire with Michael Myers, and they both go down. She sacrifices herself to save everybody, and she's there, and the house is going up in flames, and that's how you do it. I mean, it would feel weird. It'd feel weird for Laurie to die again, and for us to continue to move on without her. It's like, I mean, yes, you can do it, and I know people want to see more Michael, but I'm of the mindset of it began with them, it should end with them, it should end in a very poetic and symbolic way, and then move on. I don't know if it's just, I sometimes wonder, I know people, I don't know, I mean, I know everybody's got different tastes and things like that, but I've never really understood, I mean, I can intellectualize it, but I've never really understood the need for things just to keep going. I don't want things to keep going. I mean, I'd like life to keep going. I mean, certainly we'd like to live as long as we can, but stories need to come to an end. They have to. And hopefully they come to an end in a really, complete, not too many loose ends left sort of way, and you feel really good about the story. And then it's a story you want to revisit again and again and again. But I hate the fact that there are 11 Halloween movies and I only ever watch 3 or 4 of them. I hate that, but I have no desire to watch all the others because they're dog shit, and it's so bad because I know the story continues beyond 4 and I hate where it goes. I love that ending. No, and I'm just like, just sucks. It sucks that I have no desire to ever watch anything else after that. It sucks. It would feel like, imagine if that was the ending of the series. Oh man, that'd be fucking amazing. That'd be a great ending. See, I've often said that too, and I discussed it on this channel, that Halloween 4 in its own right, although it's nowhere near as good as the first 2 movies, in my opinion. I think it's an acceptable sequel, and I think it's the best sequel outside of the second movie. And the rest after that don't even, pale in comparison, but then again, the bar's not very high. But I will say that what I like about 4 is I love that ending, as we all do. And I think what a terrific ending that would have been if you never made any more. And imagine if a new Halloween movie today was a sequel to that movie, and you brought back Danielle Harris, and you brought back Jamie Lee Curtis because she faked her death. And can you imagine that? Imagine if Halloween 18 wasn't the Halloween movie we got, but instead it was a direct sequel to Halloween 4 because there were never any Halloween movies made. Gives you goosebumps, doesn't it? You're sitting there going, oh, you see what I'm saying? It's not fucking rocket science, people. This isn't rocket science, but this is a business and obviously it's about making money. And Mustafa Akkad, as much as we bow down to him as the Godfather, he made some donkey dog shit decisions because he just wanted money. Michael Myers will have 20 of them. I mean, like, Mustafa, really? He needed to stop surrounding himself with yes men and have somebody kind of go, he needed his son, Dad. But then again, his son probably just wants that too. But anyway, I don't know them, obviously. I don't want to speak for them, but certainly I think that that would have been interesting to me if that was the end. And Halloween 4 is a great ending because it brings it full circle, right? It started with a little boy in a clown costume. It ends with a little girl in a clown costume. It brings it full circle. The symbolism there, the poetic nature of it. Loomis is losing his fucking mind because he doesn't want to go through it again. He's willing to shoot the fucking kid before Meeker steps in. Done. End of the fucking series. Wow. And what a great message as well. You might be thinking, well, you can't end it like that. Oh, yeah, you can. Because the message is evil never dies. You can't kill the boogeyman. It doesn't matter if it's in Michael or if it's in somebody else. Pretty cool fucking ending, if I do say so myself. But that's me. That's me. That is me. That is me. Let me see here. Super chat from Amar Alagic says, thank you, buddy. Says, I loved in 2018 when Frank said 40 years ago, babysitter murders. Really connects to the original where they weren't related. Agree 100%. And I think that Will Patton's character in the first movie was completely underutilized. You know how I feel about it. I think he should have been the sheriff. I think Barker was a useless stooge. No offense to the actor. Okay, the actor is he's actually a very talented dude. He's great. But I think the character of Sheriff Barker is useless. And I don't understand why he was in there. Patton, I think, is a better character actor. He was much more interesting to me. He obviously had a history connected to the original film. Obviously, he wasn't in the original, but I mean, he's got, the mythology. He was the first on scene and blah, blah, blah. So that's interesting to me. He has a connection and a history with Laurie. That's interesting to me. And lines like that, 40 years ago. Babysitter murders. It's like, ooh, the mystique and the mystery around that line is really cool, right? So, what does he know? What does he remember? I want to know. I want to spend more time with this Frank. I want to hang out with this guy. I want to know more with this guy. I want to see more with Frank. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck about Barker. I don't give a fuck about Barker. And so it was disappointing that he wasn't utilized in the way that he should have been. I just would have gotten rid of Bark. And it makes more sense. He's been with the force for 40 years and he's not fucking sheriff. He's been with the force for 40 years. Make him fucking sheriff. Like, come on. That doesn't mean he's been come on. It makes sense that if he's lived his whole life in Haddonfield and he's a lifer and he's a lifer on the force and he's already like in his 50s, maybe close to say, that he would be the sheriff. Make him the sheriff, I don't know. I think it was a missed opportunity. But apparently he comes back in the next one. I don't know how much of how much he's going to be back because he's going to be in the hospital, but that's not a spoiler. I think that's self-explanatory in a lot of ways. Self-explanatory in a lot of ways. Let's see here. Awoken Nightmare says, Dave, when can we expect the 2-hour fleshed out Dave McRae Halloween 4 sequel concept video? Well, probably never, at least not anytime soon. I don't have the time to do that, man. These things take a lot of time to do. People want to pay me for it. Sure, I'll do it. But doing this stuff, it takes a lot of time, my man. Takes a lot of time. Let's see here. Let me scroll back, see if I can get some people I have not seen before. Duke Fleet. I've seen Duke Fleet, of course. He's a good sporter. Dave, are there any specific movies you're planning to watch around Halloween? Not really. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not somebody that when it comes October that I watch a horror movie every night or I watch a bunch of horror movies. I know that might sound funny to some of you, but I don't do that. I will probably, like, Halloween falls on a Saturday this year. I may watch, I may want to watch a Halloween or a couple of horror movies or something like that. But I'm not, like, I know there are people that do 31 on 31 and not the Cody Leach ranking thing. But in terms of watching a movie, they'll watch a horror movie every single day for 31 days in October. I don't have the time to do that, nor the desire to do that. But I think that's really cool that those of you that do. I usually stick to, if I'm going to watch a couple of horror movies in October, because it's October and it's Halloween, it'll be closer to Halloween. Yeah, it'll probably be either on Halloween or the day before or something like that, where I'll settle in and watch them. Now, what horror movies I'll watch, I don't know. I mean, there's still a few out there that I haven't seen that I want to see. But I might have a classic one as well, like Halloween or Elm Street or The Others or something. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Oliver Mercer. Hey, Dave. Have you heard that they will create a Halloween TV series? This may be nothing to it, but it does create wonder and worry regarding the Michael Myers story. Oliver, I don't know where you've heard that. It's been an idea on the table for a long time. It's been kind of like, hey, wouldn't this be cool? But there is absolutely unequivocally no confirmation that a Halloween TV series is in the works. So if you heard that from We Got This Covered, just take it like that, because We Got This Covered has nothing covered, except piles of poo all over their face. That's how I feel. That is how I feel. Oh, David Lee Barron comes in here and says, it was my Spider-Man post I made yesterday. Oh, I guess you're referring to the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield teaming up that's okay, man. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Listen, these things happen. All I ask is that when you read things online, you have to, unless it comes from Deadline, the Variety, the Hollywood Reporter, Bloody Disgusting, and, to a lesser extent, but, Movie Web or Screen Rant or, comicbook.com. I mean, unless it's coming from those sources, if it's coming from Billy Bob's Movie Blog or We Got This Covered or, it doesn't now, but I say this because, it's an important part. It doesn't mean that what you are hearing from Billy Bob's Movie Blog or even We Got This Covered, because they throw so much at the wall, won't turn out to be true. But you want probability. Before you start going and sharing it as fact, you want to set yourself up to give you yourself the best probability of success. I will never talk about anything or share anything as, isn't this cool? Oh my God. In case you haven't noticed, unless it's coming from Variety, Deadline, The Hollywood Reporter, Bloody Disgusting, because I don't want to steer you guys in the wrong direction. Forbes is a good one, because it's important to me that if it's rumors, the rumors are being told to you by reputable sources. Okay. It's not Billy Bob's Movie Blog. It's about probability at the end of the day and putting yourself because you guys trust me and I want to give you guys information that may likely be true. And if it's coming from Billy Bob's Movie Blog, it may be true, but I don't know them and I don't know who they are. And how are they? I don't know. But these trade magazines are in the business. This is what they do all day, every day. They have, reporters and sources that are boots on the, this is what they do. It's their job to break stories, to give you updates at that level, right? Billy Bob's Movie Blog may get wind of something, but they don't necessarily have boots on the ground is their job. And that's what they're doing every day. And so it's important that it's very easy to say, and I don't say it very often. And you know, I do have several sources that I use that are connected to the industry and people that I know, but you don't hear me say it very often because I don't like to just go based on rumors because anybody can say anything, you know, and I don't want to be that guy that says, well, sources told me. Yeah, anybody can say that. Anybody can say that, right? And if you say it enough, something's going to stick. So, and it doesn't mean that these other Billy Bob blogs are not right, but I like to put myself in a position that gives me the more probability of success because you deserve that. I deserve that too. So, you know, it happens, man. It happens. Just make sure that when you are looking, who is the source? Who's the source of the information? You know, and it's the best way to do it. Journalism is dead, you know, and I take this very seriously because I come from a media family. As many of you know, my father was a journalist here in Canada. He was a columnist, and he was a columnist for 40 years. And you know, he was, you know, a reporter and a columnist through the golden age of journalism, as they say, through the 60s and the 70s. And you know, he died in 2011, but he had been a journalist for nearly 50 years. And, you know, I take getting things right or putting yourself in a good position seriously. And it makes me, it makes me so fucking angry that sites like We Got This Covered can exist and spew out garbage after garbage after garbage, hearsay after hearsay after hearsay of making I could start a website right now called Dave Knows Best, and all I have to do is throw up images of pop culture shit and type in headlines that say it's reported that, it's reported, and make shit up. And trust me, I could do it and have you convinced like it was nobody's business. I could write shit that would make your head spin and you'd go, holy fucking shit. It's articulate, it's well written, the headlines, it must be true. It's so easy to fake that shit. You know, it's so easy to fake. And We Got This Covered, like the people there should be ashamed of themselves. You ain't got shit covered. You got nothing covered, you know? Yeah, but we got that right. Yeah, because you throw enough at the wall, you know? And I mean, what I would love to know, and somebody's got to do this. I don't have the time or the care to do it, but somebody's got to actually draw up a graph, and so we can have a percentage of how much they get right versus how much they get wrong. And I bet you it's 90-10, maybe even 95-5, you know, in favor of wrong. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent, but don't worry about it, man. It's totally cool. Just always make sure to look at the sources. So it gives you that probability. Oh, it's a Hollywood Reporter reporting this? Okay, cool. I'm going to talk about it. Deadline? Okay. Variety? Okay. Bloody Disgusting? Okay. You know, Screen Rant or Movie Web or something. And again, you got to take those with a little bit of grain of salt too. But if they're talking about it as rumors, you know, there's a higher probability than, you know, Jim's movie blog. I mean, you know, because everybody wants to get in on the game. Everybody wants the clicks and the traffic, and, you know, they want to sort of rush things. You know, they want to play. I want to play too. And it's like, well, yeah, but it takes time. You got to work yourself up, man. You got to develop a reputation. And that's very important. It's very, very, very important. So no problem there at all, my man. No problem there at all. Let's hear. Gary Rangel sends in a $5 super chat, says, Dave, there was 2 cops in the entire franchise that stopped Loomis from killing the evil Meeker in H4 and Hawkins. Why did they stop him? I'm sorry, Gary, there were 2 cops in the entire franchise that stopped Loomis from killing the evil Meeker in H4 and Hawkins. Why did they stop him? Gary, I'm not sure I understand your question. I'm not sure I understand your question, Gary. There were 2 cops in the entire franchise that stopped Loomis from killing the evil Meeker. Gary, I don't know what you're talking about, unless you're being funny and trying to I'm not sure. Can you don't have to send another super chat, but if you can at me so I can see it, just kind of maybe restructure it a bit. because I'm don't understand what you mean. Aaron Anderson sends in a $4.99 super chat, says, Dave, what's your favorite war movie? Oh, that's a good question. You know, Platoon is great. Obviously, Saving Private Ryan. That feels like a cop-out answer because it's so good and it was so popular. But that's good. You know, Apocalypse Now is great. Thin Red Line is great too. Any of those, I'm down for watching. Any of those. Predator. No. I'm down. Emmett Byron, is that how you say that? Hey, Dave, keep up the good work. What do you think the ramifications, effects, good or bad, if Blumhouse announces that Halloween Kills will go digital instead of releasing in the cinema? I don't think most people will care, but I don't think it will do as well. I think fans will be incredibly happy and they'll watch it no matter what, but the ultimate experience is in the movie theater, not in IMAX. It won't make as much. So it's unfortunate. It will really, that's not what they want. They want to release this thing in the movie theater, so they can make boatloads of money. But, will people watch it? Yeah. Will it do well? Yeah. You know, it'll do fine, but it's not going to make $250 million. I can tell you that. Frank Riker says, Dave, it's the evil, Meeker and Hawkins. Oh, okay. Stop Loomis from killing the evil, Meeker and H4 and Hawkins. Why did they stop him? Okay, so there's a comma after the... There were two cops in the entire franchise that stopped Loomis from killing the evil, Meeker and H4 and Hawkins. I get it now. Why did they stop him? I get it. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that. Well, because, in H4, I think it's self-explanatory because Loomis was going to kill a child, right? So I think it's a bit different, you know, and Meeker's not seeing it in the same ways as Loomis is. You know, I think if you had done a sequel to H4 that was really good and you expanded more on that, then Meeker would have, I don't know, would Meeker have stopped him? I don't know. And Hawkins, I have no idea. I can't remember what he did. I can't really remember what Hawkins did. So I can't remember. I'm not sure. But that would be why Meeker stopped him. I still think it would have been epic. Loomis just unloads on Jamie and she's at the top of the stairs. You just try getting that past the ratings board. Ooh, that ain't gonna happen. Dusty Rose says, I think he's saying there were two cops that stopped. Yes, you are correct. Josh McGrath says, Dave, going through a tough time right now. I just broke up with my partner after 2 years. To me, the world feels like it's ending. What advice can you give me? Josh, first of all, it's tough. It's tough, man. We've all been there. I think everybody in the chat room right now has been in a relationship and that relationship has ended. And I know I have, and we all have. And it's extremely difficult. I say allow yourself that time to grieve. Allow yourself to feel the pain. Allow yourself to cry. Allow yourself to be angry. Allow yourself to be sad. Because if you don't allow yourself that opportunity to grieve, it will come out in ways that you don't want it to come out later on down the road. Don't try and sweep it under the rug, man. You know, it sucks. It hurts. It's shit. It's dog shit, right? It's fucking dog shit. This is shit, you know, and I know that it's the last thing I wanted to hear. It's the last thing that anybody wants to hear during a time like this. You will move on. You will be okay. It's the hardest thing to hear during a time like this. And I understand it. But you will be okay. Do your best to surround yourself with friends who can lift you up, who can be there to listen. One of the great things about having some close friends is that a really good friend, a best friend, a close friend will be there just to listen. And they don't have to just spew it, man. Spew it all out, cry, you know, get angry. tell them how much you miss them. Not tell them, but I mean, tell your friend, I miss them so much. You know what? And let the friend be there just to listen. Sometimes we just need somebody to listen. And I don't know the reasons for your breakup. I don't know if there is an opportunity to reconcile and get back together. But if there isn't, and in most cases there usually isn't, just do your best to allow that time for you to grieve. You will be okay. You'll be okay. You will get through. It's going to take time. It's going to take time, but you will be okay. I remember years ago, a girlfriend I broke up with, which was hard. This is like, 16 years ago, whatever. And it was hard. It was very, very hard. It was hard going to work, because at that time, no, maybe it was 17 years. Anyway, it was a long time ago. At that time, I was working a part-time job at a video store. And it was very hard, very hard. It was hard to work. It was hard to focus. You know what it's like, right? It's difficult. You know what I'm saying? Your life's over. It's all over, And then, the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, and it got a little easier and a little easier. And I knew I was starting to be okay when cute girls would come into the video store and I would begin to notice them, because they would come in all the time while I was going through this whole thing, but I didn't give a fuck, because it's like I was in that thing, right? And I distinctly remember, I don't remember what the girl looked like, but I distinctly remember the moment when I think it was an afternoon shift or something, and a girl came in to rent a movie, and I remember noticing her. And feeling like, oh, she's really pretty, and she came up to the counter and I was kind of like, oh, hi, how are you? And then when she left, I was like, oh my God, I think I'm going to be okay. I think it's hard. It's hard. There will be moments where you almost feel like, oh no, I can't feel that way because I'm supposed to feel this way for the other person. And it's like, yeah, but it's okay. This is, it takes time, but you will be okay. Just allow yourself to feel it and do your best to surround yourself with friends who can listen to you. That's my advice. All right, a couple more minutes here, and then I have to skedaddle early today, folks, in case you're just joining me. But it's because I have some meetings I have to attend to this afternoon in regards to It's Me, Billy. But I appreciate all of you for tuning in, of course, like you do. So a couple more here. Jesse McLaughlin says, I don't know what I walked into, but pineapple doesn't belong on pizza. Pineapple belongs on pizza. Bruce, is that you? I love me some pineapple on pizza. I am a pineapple on pizza kind of guy, but that's me. That is me. Let me see here. Chastity Smith says, what always got me is if Laurie Strode faked her death, why didn't she keep tabs on Jamie Lloyd, knowing Michael could go after her? And I'm sure she read what happened to her after Jamie got killed. Maybe she did. Oh, I see. You mean, after Halloween 5 and 6. Oh yeah, no, I don't. If they were ever to make a sequel to that storyline, you'd have to negate 6 and 5. You'd have to pretend 5 and 6 never happened, and you do an alternate reality Halloween 5, like they've done an alternate reality Halloween 2. I mean, that's what Halloween 2018 is. For all intents and purposes, it is Halloween 2. It's an alternate reality Halloween 2. That's what it is. So you'd have to do the same thing with Halloween 4. You'd have to do an alternate reality Halloween 5. And if you do that, then you could bring back Laurie Strode, because you can, fill in all those gaps. As soon as she heard about Jamie Lloyd, she came out of the woodwork, and maybe Laurie Strode has been taking care of Jamie Lloyd all these years. You know what I mean? And you can fill in those gaps, and you can talk about that and show that. And she came out of the woodwork out of hiding because of her daughter and this kind of stuff and all that. So, yeah, for sure. But you couldn't, it would be very strange to justify her returning, doing a sequel to Halloween 6. That would be kind of like, where were you when the fuck? Totally agree on that. All right, folks, listen, that's going to do it for me for episode 114 of McRae Live. I want to thank my moderators, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, and Darren Sands, for doing what you guys do. You guys are amazing. Thank you to the super chats that came in today. Thank you for the non-super chat questions. I really appreciate it. Frank goes hard into the paint at the very end, says for the sexy MFers in the chat. Thank you so much, Frank. I really do appreciate you doing that, man. man. Awesome stuff. Listen, again, no 2 dudes and some bullshit this Monday night. I know, it's like, where the hell are you guys? Tony was busy last Monday. I am busy this Monday. I have a big road trip this Monday with some of our crew to the location. And that's an all-day venture, and I won't be back till late Monday night. So no 2 dudes this Monday night. It's always possible I could have a video on my channel this weekend. You never know, but it's a busy weekend for me as well. You probably likely won't see me again till Tuesday morning at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time for episode 115 of McRae Live, but you never say never. Sometimes I can do little things and, post them and have some fun. But I really appreciate you guys. You know I do. Have a great weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great weekend. In the meantime and in between time, I will talk to you guys soon. Cheers.